Hi, I'm Irv Miller, Executive Chef at Jackson's Restaurant in Pensacola. I actually have special interest in being here today. I have a 16-year-old who is sort of in your position and trying to make decisions about her career direction, and also myself, who took 6 years to decide whether I was going to go to school or stay out of school and work. So I am Executive Chef, and I wanted to kind of fill you in on what it's like to be a chef and what a typical day is like. We're open for lunch and dinner, which means I have to be here, or I choose to be here, at about 11:30, and I oversee the lunch shift, and then I work my way through the day doing things like follow-ups and emails and computer work. Inventory is done weekly. Endless amounts of follow-ups and, once again, return emails to both all of my co-workers who have projects going along with me or follow through with other projects. I work 5 to 6 days a week. It depends really on what's going on. But after I get through the lunch shift and after I've done all my return emails and all my follow-up work, I sort of work into the next shift, which is the dinner shift. And as an executive chef, I'm more administrative than hands-on, although I'm very hands-on for an executive chef. So I have a chef that actually works for me, and he is the one who does a lot of the online work, which means he runs the ticket window, he calls the orders, he cooks online. I, on the other hand, have done that, but I have done that for many, many years, so I'm at a point in my career where I still do some of that hands-on, but I actually am more administrative. My personal workload really determines my stress level. For instance, if I have some articles to finish up, or I have to correspond with some people and have some timely deadlines on perhaps creating menus, perhaps media requests or writing articles for the newspaper, which I frequently do, or even perhaps doing TV segments. It depends on how much of that is on my plate. But normally speaking, my stress load is fairly distributed fairly well, and you have to really, in this business, it requires a lot of personal energy and forethought. So I would suggest that if you're not an energetic person, you may consider something else, just because it takes so much of your personal time and energy to achieve all the tasks required of you. For me personally, I decided that I wasn't ready to go to school because I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I decided to work in the industry, which was the restaurant industry, and I started at the bottom washing dishes, and I worked my way into the pantry, and finally got thrown into a cook's position. And so I found myself coming back and forth into the kitchen for several years before I decided or could make a decision on with knowing what I wanted to actually do. So that benefited me, I feel, because we find that a lot of people that go to the culinary schools aren't really aware of what it's like to actually work in the industry. And so I do recommend 1 year to 2 years for someone who has never actually been in the kitchen or in the restaurant, because when I say kitchen or restaurant, there's many facets that you can take, many ways to go from baker to food and beverage to chef. So I'm here as a chef, and I got my schooling was in New York, and when I graduated from school a long time ago, I decided I worked as a working chef, or a chef de cuisine, which is what my chef does, probably a good 15 years. Even though I was an executive chef at other restaurants in between, I still was a working chef cooking daily on the line. So you definitely, I would suggest to someone who really needs to be prepared for that as well. There are programs that are affiliated with school that some chefs choose to take the route, and that would be the American Culinary Federation, which you're able to get certified. And this is above and beyond going to culinary school. It's not mandated, it's not mandatory, but some people choose different directions in their career, and it's a good thing to have the American Culinary Federation behind you. In my opinion, it's best to have both field experience, which is the School of Hard Knocks, and also the schooling experience. One over the other, I would say just depends on your personality. But most employers are looking for somebody who has some practical work experience over someone who has a culinary degree and is fresh out of school. So I do suggest that both of them combined together would make for a highly desirable candidate. I think some of the best parts of my career choice as a chef is that I get to use my craft as an outlet for creativity, which is very rewarding for me personally. And it really is perfect for me because I'm artistic, yet I wanted to express myself through some medium, and in this case it's food. I really enjoy the people. I'm a people person, so my coworkers and I are very close, and we like to be a team because that's really what the industry is about, and the kitchen, being in the kitchen when push comes to shove, is that it's one huge team. Now, the worst parts about the business are, once again, working holidays and weekends and special events and all those extra hours that are expected out of you. And also, I guess firing is never fun. Those are some of the things. Employee counseling is not fun, but you know, nobody's really perfect. So it's a growing process for people and management, and those are really the worst things in the business. Thank you all for listening to me today, and before I check out, I wanted to go over a list of things that I thought were important, that if anybody's considering being a chef, that you might want to know or think about. And I'm just going to read these. First, you have to have experience and you must be willing to learn all the time. Education and the selection of the proper school is the way to go. You may not feel like you need to go to New York, and you may feel like you want to stay in Pensacola. There's culinary schools everywhere these days. So sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's not. You decide if you want to go work for the best chef in the country and set your standards, or stay here, go to school, and work for a local restaurant. That's a possibility as well. Good communication skills and people skills are a must. You must be able to talk to people calmly and effectively. A good sense of business, and that's where we're talking about profit and loss, food cost and labor costs. You have to have a good sense of business. The ability to receive and digest criticism is sometimes a very hard thing to swallow. We all want to do a great job, we all want to be thanked, but sometimes the truth hurts. So sometimes you have to be a little bit more willing to take criticism than you are. Remember that you're in the service industry. That means that you're here to please people. You are here to do something that nobody else does. You are expected to make the customer happy. And I would suggest that you always remember that if you go into this business. Remember to work hard to achieve your goals. You really have to stick with it and work hard. And I suggest that you work for some different chefs, you work at some different restaurants, and you work for a place that you like to work for. You know, with top chefs and iron chefs these days, in the last decade or so, it's really changed the face of the culinary world. There's only a minute percentage of chefs that ever achieve that goal of being a superstar chef. So don't be tempted into becoming a chef just because you want to be a star chef. Like I said, the chances of that happening are minimal. So you better be sure that this is something that you want to do, and you can find that out by being in the industry and actually getting a job and working the restaurant, and see if it's for you. You really need to find out if it's for you first before you spend a lot of money on culinary school. Once again, just remember, try not to get caught up in all the hype of being a superstar chef, and really get into the industry because you want to be in the industry. I have had a successful and very interesting career over the last 30 years, and hopefully it's not over yet, and I feel like there's many more doors to open, and I hope you have a successful career as I have, and best of luck to you.